Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I'm so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you, whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 144th episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and this week we're heading down to the Caribbean. We are going to St. Maarten. Now, you might also know it as St. Martin, but I'm going to refer to it as St. Maarten this episode. It's also known as the Friendly Island. And I wondered why it was called the Friendly Island. Not that it wasn't extremely friendly, but I wondered if there was a particular reason, and I think I found it. We've been one time to St. Maarten, and it was one of our cruise stops, one of the ports of call, where we went on our most recent Royal Caribbean cruise when we went on the Wonder of the Seas back in February when we did the 7-night Caribbean cruise. And one of the reasons I picked this specific cruise was to go to St. Maarten. It is one of the most popular cruise destinations, and as many cruises as I have been on, I have not been to it yet. One reason why it's so popular is because it is accommodating for the mega ships. So all of the really large ships are able to go here, and they're able to dock. And we were on the Wonder of the Seas, which is the third largest cruise ship in the world at the time. And it was they have to go to very specific ports, St. Maarten being one of them. So why is it called the Friendly Island? Well, for 350 years, it has had open borders. And what do I mean by that? This is very fascinating, the smallest landmass in the world shared by two nations. That's right, one island, 13 square miles, two countries. The French and the Dutch both have a part of St. Maarten, and it is an open border. So it's officially the oldest open border with more than, you have two nations in the world. So a very small island. It is extremely popular with cruise destinations as a cruise port because you can get to anywhere in the island in an hour or less. So say you're on the Dutch side, which is known for nightlife, shopping, casinos, lots of great restaurants. Or you want to go over to the French side. Again, great restaurants, but more nature activities. You have the experience of two different places all in one. So it's great for a cruise destination because you can go anywhere you want to on the island during your stay. So I'm going to share with you some of the interesting things about this beautiful place where you can go. If you want to fly into St. Maarten, you can definitely do that. And it's not just going to be arriving at just a regular airport. This is the most photographed airport runway in the world. Maho Beach is where we went, and I will say this was the number one thing my 12-year-old son, London, who is an aviation enthusiast, it was the number one thing that he was looking forward to because you can actually watch these large planes and small ones too land right on the runway when the planes are going over a small strip of beach where you can be sun tanning or you can be watching the planes come in, you can be swimming right off the beach, and they go right over your head and land on the runway. Now, we decided to do something different. Instead of watching from the beach, because I had heard, and I had read some different reviews and heard a few complaints about how it can get very crowded It's very loud. The dust can really pick up, and if you're by the fence, like the force from the airplanes when they turn on those engines, then like you can even be knocked backwards from the wind. So we decided that we were going to do an excursion where we got to see Maho Beach from the water, and it was a fantastic experience. We had the planes landing like flying right overhead and then landing right in a good eyesight where we could watch. And London got lots of videos of the planes landing. You can also download an app where you can see which planes are landing when. London has flight trackers, so he loves to keep up with it that way, but there's another one as well. I'm going to post that in here. Before we went to the beach, though, we went snorkeling, and it was a really cool snorkeling experience, but the water was a little choppy that day, and so Christian, my 8-year-old, decided he was going to enjoy the water from our snorkel boat and get started eating some snacks and having a Coke. He was not getting in the water because it went pretty deep. We weren't right off the beach. We were off the boat, and it went into like 15 to 30 feet of water. And we could see a sunken helicopter and a submarine. And, there was some really cool, there was a cannon. So there was lots of different things we could see, although the visibility wasn't perfect that day. So that was part of what we did during the day, and I'm going to tell you the other part, how we started that day, in just a few minutes. So you can arrive by air, like I said, Maho Beach, famous beach, by cruise ship like we did, or by yacht. It's a very popular yacht stop. It has the most beaches per square mile in the world. So there's some more fun facts about St. Martin. In addition to having the most beaches, it also has the most restaurants per square mile. So you really get a lot of different flavors here, because remember I said you have 2 countries in one that are part of St. Martin, the Dutch side and the French side. It is known as the culinary capital of the Caribbean, and it has the most nationalities per capita. I think it says 100 plus nationalities are represented here. It also has the steepest zip line in the world. Now, we looked into this as one of our possible attractions, but again, London vetoed everything else that did not involve getting to go to Maho Beach and watching the planes land. So we did not go to the Flying Dutchman. That has been there since 2017. Our youngest is not huge on heights, so we didn't think going to the steepest zip line in the world would be the best option for us this trip, so we didn't. But it does look like a great experience, especially for the thrill seekers who are going there. It is also the only island with 2 carnivals, and they're different months of the year. So most of the Caribbean celebrates Carnival. A lot of other countries too, like Brazil has a huge Carnival celebration. But this is the only island that has 2 in different months. I believe one is in February and one is in April. So what else can you do if you go to St. Martin? So many things. Like, of course, you want to experience the water and the beaches. Like, as I said, there are more beaches per square mile than any other place. Maho Beach, definitely recommendation. If you like shopping, the Dutch side where you're going to land to Philipsburg, we could walk there from our ship. So we didn't even have to take a taxi. We didn't have to rent a car. We didn't have to do a tour. We could just walk to downtown. Or you could take a water taxi. Now, going back, I think I would take the water taxi because that looks like a really fun way to get right downtown to be able to walk along the boardwalk. There's a little bit more that I want to share with you about our experience, especially what we did that morning. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week's radio portion of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. So tune into our Facebook group. I'll share the link. You can hear the rest of our podcast there, but Heather and Logan Tate Whimsical Destinations. And you can also see our pictures from this amazing place. Is it somewhere that I would go back as more than just a one-day stop on a cruise port? Definitely. One of the best things for me about going on a cruise and going to new places is seeing, like, was this somewhere I would really like to go back? And I can tell just in a day, because you can't always tell. I tell everyone about Jamaica. If you've been to Jamaica on a cruise and it wasn't your favorite, it's not the same experience as going to Jamaica and staying on this beautiful island there. But I will say this, if you love the destination as a cruise port, it will blow you away when you get to stay there for several days or even a week. And St. Maarten is one of those places I know I'm going to go back. Whatever you do this week, wherever you're traveling to, make those memories with your family. Life is short. Take the trip. You won't regret it. Okay, we are back for the extended episode of St. Maarten, the friendly island. So there's just a little bit more I wanted to share with you, especially our experience when we arrived. So we decided to do a half-day excursion because I told you we had to go to Maho Beach, the famous beach, which is perfect for your aviation enthusiasts who want to watch the planes going right overhead of the beach and people that are sunbathing and then land in the runway right beside the beach. So we knew we wanted to go there. We wanted to get in some snorkeling, but how were we going to spend the rest of our day? We wanted to go shopping and explore the downtown. You have the capital, which is Phillipsburg, right within walking distance of the cruise terminal. So when we docked, we decided we would just walk downtown. Now, looking back, we now know we could have taken a water taxi, and that's what I really recommend. If you're going, it's not much more. Instead of walking, you can save your energy for your exploring downtown and just take the water taxi straight to the boardwalk. But we walked. It was great weather. It was very warm that day. Rainy season goes from mid-July through December. But like other tropical islands, the rain may only be for brief periods of time. Doesn't mean it's going to rain for days or even a whole day. It could just be for a couple of hours. You also have some really interesting nearby islands here. Anguilla, Saba, and St. Barth. If you've heard of St. Barth before, it is associated with the lifestyles of the rich and famous, the yacht club. Like, it is a very popular place to be able to go and get away from it all and the peak of luxury. What is St. Maarten known for? One of the things very interesting that we didn't try, so I have to go back, is their guava berry. They have guava berry, rum, coladas, even a barbecue sauce. Other activities besides snorkeling and going to the beach, because remember, more beaches per square mile than anywhere else on earth, is you can kayak through the mangroves. You can go to a discovery farm with lots of different animals, goats and sheep and donkeys. You can take boat trips around the island. You can go to Parrotville Bird Paradise, another option, if you're wanting to do something besides all of the beaches. You can also take some of the ATV trails, go deep sea fishing, horseback riding, or shopping. It was recognized as one of the best places to shop in the Caribbean on a cruise. And so what we did at the beginning of our day, before we met up after lunchtime for our excursions, we decided we were going to go shopping. Our goal wasn't for souvenirs, though. We were shopping for foreign currency. Now, part of the island is going to have euros, because remember, it's going to have the French side. But the Dutch side actually has something else, and it is Antillean guilders. Now, my boys are familiar with Antillean guilders because I brought them back some from Curacao. So that's right. Curacao and St. Maarten have the same currency. And they were changing up the currency the month after we were going to be there. So London is under the impression that his currency that he got then, the Antillean guilder, was going to be worth something in the future. So he wanted to go get more. That was his whole goal for the day. So when you're shopping, though, what kind of currency do you need on the island? They will happily take your U.S. dollars. And we actually struggled trying to get change in Antillean guilders. We asked every shop we could think of, and they would say, go to the bank. We tried to go to the bank, and they met us at the door, and they told us, no, I don't know, maybe it's because they saw our swimwear underneath our regular clothes, but they would not let us walk into the bank. They're like, this is for customers only, like you had to have an account. We're like, okay, so we didn't even step foot in the bank in downtown Phillipsburg. So they said, you should go to the casino if you're wanting to get change. Well, we attempted to go to the casino where either Logan or myself were going to go in while the other one waited with the boys outside because they were too young to go inside. But it didn't open until later that day. So since we're there that morning, we did not get to go in. So then I said, okay, this is the universe telling me I need to go shopping, and we'll just ask about and see if we can maybe get some Antillean guilders for change that way. So that's what we did. really great pricing, and I felt like the souvenirs there were of better quality sometimes than when you get at some cruise ports where it feels like everything is imported. They had some beautiful scarves, so I got quite a few of those. I even found a dress that I'm going to take when we go to Croatia this summer when we go on our Croatian yacht cruise. We found a beach hat for Christian that said St. Maarten on it. He needed a bucket hat because he hits the sun like I do, and we knew that he needed to protect himself from the UV rays that day, especially going out on the boat. And then we decided to take a break and have some gelato right there on the beach. We took some pictures. We did a little bit of sightseeing. But as we were going along, we were constantly looking for Antillean guilders. Some of the shops managed to have some change for us that they could give us, so we didn't get a lot. They recommended we go to the grocery store. And so after trying the bank, multiple smaller shops, the casino, we went to the grocery store, and that is where we were able to ask for change and actually receive some. Not a lot, but we did get some. So London was happy. He still took it upon himself to go ask probably 5 or 6 other shopkeepers if they could exchange his U.S. dollars for Antillean guilders, and he got a little bit. He was not afraid to ask, so I was very impressed with him there. So after our morning of shopping and walking around and searching for a different currency, then we boarded our little boat where we were going to go for the snorkeling. They gave us a warning. They said the visibility was not at 100%. They said really it was only about 40% that day, and the water was going to be a little choppy. Now, I didn't notice it at the beginning, but I will tell you, by the end, I noticed it. And so I really respected that they gave us that heads up, and they told us if we wanted to cancel the excursion, we could. But the weather was beautiful. It wasn't raining. We knew we wanted to get to Maho Beach, so I was willing to do it. And was it my favorite snorkeling experience I've ever had? It wasn't. It wasn't that day. We saw less fish and more of, like I said, we saw the submarine and the helicopter and some cannons. And I prefer more of the tropical fish and the turtles and the coral reefs. That's more of what I prefer when I'm snorkeling. I actually like snorkeling right off a beach too, instead of off of a boat. Personal preference, and much easier for Christian as well, because then the water doesn't get really deep very quickly. But I still really enjoyed it. My favorite part was Maho Beach, and I enjoyed seeing it from the boat. The experience getting to watch London, videoing the planes coming through, getting excited about each one that was coming in, knowing which airline each plane belonged to. Even before he could even see what it was going to be, he knew what it was and would be excited and tell us all about the planes. It was fun. So letting your kids have a part in what excursions you do when you're going on a cruise is a great way to make sure that they are invested, that they are involved. And there are some excursions that I am really adamant about, and then there's others where I'm like, I want to see if they have a preference, like if there's something they're excited about. And it made a huge difference knowing that it was something that London really looked forward to. Christian enjoyed it. I'm going to be honest, he was just as happy being out on the boat, having a Coke and some snacks, and, watching the planes as they landed. He was more excited about that and the gelato than he was when we went shopping and searching for the Antillean guilders. But we had a great day in St. Maarten, and I cannot wait to go back. That's all the time we have for the extended version. Make those memories. Take the trip together. Whatever you do, life is an adventure. Don't miss it.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted, and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.